What's up, everybody? You're listening to another episode of Just Breathing Home Edition. I'm JC.
I'm Brittany.
And, yeah. Cool. Intro. So, in case anybody doesn't know what Just Breathing Home Edition is and doesn't know how to differentiate it from the other podcasts that we do in the studio, Just Breathing Home Edition is kind of in the name. We talk about the home. So that involves family, parenting, marriage, culture, and how that impacts the home, work life, all those types of things that involve being in a home within a nuclear family.
Right.
I don't know.
I think that's a good description.
I'll probably work on that description a little bit, but that basically is what this is about. I do it with my wife, and we talk about all that stuff. In the studio, it's a little different. In the studio, we're doing interviews, we're doing live streams, we're doing stuff like that is more open to politics, culture, music, pretty much anything goes in there. But yeah, so tonight I actually wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on in, we can talk about both of our work lives, but I kind of want to talk about your work life because, if you can see our shirts, we're matching.
That was on accident, actually.
That was actually on accident. I do not take commands.
I will say that I had the shirt on first.
No, there's no
so
way.
I think that he was copying me.
That's not true. When did you put that shirt on today? I totally had this on. I worked out. I worked out at lunch.
I had it on first.
I worked out at lunch. And you had it on before?
I had it on before lunch. So he subconsciously saw what I was wearing and he wanted to mimic me. And so he put it on.
I wanted to.
And he doesn't have black shorts, so he couldn't mimic me in that way.
I wanted to match my wife. I did.
Yeah.
I did. That's what it comes down to. Anyways, so the name that's on this t-shirt is F.R.E.E. If you don't know what F.R.E.E. is, it's an anti-human trafficking organization, freedom and restoration for everyone enslaved. It's awesome. Started out as an advocacy group, basically going around to churches, going around to schools and different, local
businesses,
municipalities, and basically informing them that human trafficking is happening. It's happening here in Berks County, where F.R.E.E. is located and where it does all of its organizing and everything like that. And then it kind of evolved into a nonprofit where it started raising money. It started looking for its sort of place in how are we going to go from telling people about human trafficking to doing something about it. And you've kind of gone through a couple stages of that. Like the first stage that I can think of, and there's probably stuff that happened before this, but the first thing that I can think of is the coalition. Is that the first like major thing that happened?
Well, first I will back up and just say I think education is pretty major.
Yeah.
But yeah, the coalition. So Andrea, our executive director, she started a coalition in Berks County, and so that was where we actually heard that there's a need for safe housing. Was in that coalition. So from that, we started praying. Okay, what are we supposed to do about that?
Right.
Since we're the anti-trafficking organization in this county. And so we thought that we might get support or have another program come into Berks County and start a program. But as we prayed about it, we felt like it should be like us, that we should actually do it. F.R.E.E. should do it. And then we had this opportunity with the Samaritan Women. So the Samaritan Women Institute for Sheltered Care. And they mentored us and they started mentoring us and they still mentor us, which is so cool.
Yeah. I totally forgot. You had to go away for that. You had to go down to Maryland.
Yes.
Right. And stay at the home, get educated by them. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool. That was like such a such a blessing that came up. So we applied for that and we got to be in that.
Right. And that was a major growth point for you, for Andrea, and did other people go down?
Yes, there was like, I think one other person that went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so cool because that takes you guys from just kind of having that sort of basic knowledge of what human trafficking is, how it happens, you know, all of those things that you are already communicating to people.
Right.
In your education. And now it really is like, and here's the next phase of that.
Yeah. And that's like a whole different, like being able to see the key indicators of if someone's being trafficked or, you know, understanding what supplies trafficking and, you know, how it's created and how it continues is different from knowing how to care for women and help them be restored. It's like it's something totally different. Yeah. Like
it's almost the difference of like book smart and street smart.
Right.
You know, because you're going from just having the knowledge to having the indicators and having the things to watch out for and actually reshaping your own thought process to be aware of these things.
Yes.
That sort of situational awareness for human trafficking.
Right. It was very cool. And the whole Andrea went to some other trainings with like a couple of the weeks that were more like geared towards what she was focusing on, but I went more towards like programming and actually in the home. And she was there with me as well. But it was so cool to just kind of like learn like all this new stuff of how to just care for these women and how your program should be formed and what it should look like in order to give them the most excellent care. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that was cool.
So when did the Berks Coalition come into play?
I think that was 2018.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And that's a separate thing. That's not something that F.R.E.E. started, but it was kind of a result of sort of the pushes that you were and the inroads that you were making.
I would say that Andrea put that together.
Yeah. Oh, she was definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm saying it's not like a F.R.E.E., like a division of F.R.E.E.
Right. No.
But it's something that you guys sort of made inroads in the city, in the county, with the district attorney's office, with, you know, the police, just all of those sort of inroads that you guys sort of, you made all of these different facets aware of the problem and said, hey, could we do something about it? And then they kind of, and Andrea sort of brought all those pieces together to form the coalition.
Yeah.
And that's been such a cool thing to me because like you can't do everything.
No. And it takes a community. It does take a bunch of professionals and the community being educated.
Yeah.
And then doing something about it, which the coalition is like an awesome resource for that.
Because they're the only ones that can really do like
make effective change.
One side of the problem. And a lot of that's the legal side.
Yeah.
They can affect change to the laws and not prosecute prostitutes.
Yes.
But prosecute the pimps.
Yes. And the buyers.
And that's something that I just want to maybe touch on this for just a second. I want to get more into what's happening with F.R.E.E., but I hear on a lot of podcasts that I listen to, big podcasts, whenever people talk about human trafficking, because of having you talk to me about it, and because of the small things that I've watched and listened to, of people that actually, of experts that know what they're talking about when it comes to human trafficking, it's really interesting the perspectives that a layperson has. Like the perspectives towards prostitution, they're like, if someone wants to make money that way, why shouldn't they be able to? Yes. And now let's look at the data.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the facts. Let's look at the, let's look at the pimps. Let's look at the, I'm not going to say the name of the women that sort of work the hotel counters.
Right.
That basically brothels are happening in. We're not factoring in that these women are put on drugs and that they are in situations of fear that, sure, they're working for money.
Right. I
but
think
they're not getting money.
No.
They're not able to get out of these situations. It's enslavement, but we slap a prostitution label on it and say they're working for money.
Right.
It's like, it's tricky. I totally understand that, like, somebody finds themselves in a terrible situation where they're like, I gotta make money to feed my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this.
And there, that's it though, right there. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and just to clarify, like, every situation can look so different.
Yeah.
But, when it really comes down to it, their lack of choice is being exploited.
Right.
So
and
if you're,
that's the thing that people are not understanding when it comes to prostitution, is that in so many circumstances, in so many instances of this happening, there's exploitation at some level.
Yeah.
Either in kind of exchanges
Mm-hmm.
that are happening, let's say drug related, in terms of maybe protection given, be like, hey, you work this street. That's fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll protect you, and already that you're just being groomed into this
Right.
life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways, so many examples that you could show how exploitation is a part of that scenario.
Right.
And it goes from something that is way beyond prostitution.
Yeah.
And that's what F.R.E.E has been so important in communicating to these DAs who, honestly, Redding, I think, is changing, and I think is becoming more aware and becoming more eyes wide open to the problems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before, they didn't even believe human trafficking existed.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was one of those people. That's why it was so...
I'm talking, and that's fine for, like, a common person that's maybe not around this stuff.
Right.
I'm sure if you lived in some places where prostitution is happening,
then
you'd be like, no, it's happening.
Yeah.
We're privileged in that way. But for the legal system to not believe in it, that was crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not that way anymore.
No, it definitely is not. But in the beginning, I mean, they were pushing back.
Yeah.
They were kind of saying, like, nah, it doesn't really exist here.
Yeah.
No, that's what happens in those other countries.
Was that before Paul Sewell?
I have no idea. I just remember very early on when you guys were sort of really getting your wheels turning in terms of getting out there to a lot of places, where, because you were meeting and you were doing a lot of talking in the beginning, and that's great. You were making each other aware of and learning and educating.
We were
yourselves.
making lots of connections at that point.
Yeah, definitely. But once you started really actively, regularly going out and educating people, all the people that now are in the coalition,
right?
The Berks Coalition, they weren't really on the ball with a lot of this stuff. Maybe some high-ranking law enforcement like FBI,
right? Oh yeah,
because there was a couple stings in Redding, and that opened a lot of people's eyes to the human trafficking that was happening.
Right.
It's like, dude, we just shut down a ring.
Yes.
Like a legit sex trafficking ring.
And I believe just recently too, there was a few people indicted for another gang in Redding, right on South Cherry Street, I think it was. Like the gang, the Sevens, and they had been prostituting people out of a boarding house for a few years. And that I think that, I don't know, just maybe became public recently.
Right.
But So even now we're finding out more and more of things.
But a lot of there was a couple that sort of, before you guys were really firing on all cylinders, some stings that happened, some big ones. But then, after you guys kind of set up shop in the city, you started doing regular prayer walks down streets that are known for prostitution. It was really incredible to see a lot of the people, maybe not as big of operations, and hopefully there's not any big operations happening, but a lot of sort of individuals that were pimping out women
Yes.
from their homes and stuff, they were shut down. They were arrested.
Yes.
So that was cool. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, I think law enforcement are definitely they're on that now.
Mhm.
So that's great to see. And that's, I mean, I feel like that's what organizations like F.R.E.E. are for.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones pushing to say, hey, like keep your eyes open. Hey, this is happening, because otherwise it would go unnoticed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the job of a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And that's like the difference between lobbyists
Mhm.
and nonprofits.
Yeah.
Because lobbyists do have sort of financial incentives backing their interests.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas
nonprofits
hopefully
do not.
nonprofits are
Yeah.
just there to bring awareness.
Right.
And advocate for change, maybe in laws. Maybe advocate for the way that police treat situations. Right. I mean, because that is huge.
And
like when a police officer shows up to a situation, instead of just like immediately going and arresting the prostitute.
Yeah.
Hey, where's your pimp?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on here? Hey,
right.
you servicing, like, are you doing like,
right. Understanding really what's going on behind the scenes.
Having that situational awareness to that.
Yes.
Is huge with a police officer, because they don't want to arrest these prostitutes.
Right.
They understand that they're in hard situations, but that's law right now.
Well, I think that's changing as well.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
And I think it has to change once the awareness changes.
Right.
So like you said, education is crucial.
I'm big on education too, because I feel like everyday people, it's so important for them to know what supplies the demand in human trafficking, because we're what's making it continue on, right? Like pornography, and then men buying sex, and maybe their understanding of pornography and buying sex is incorrect. Maybe they do think the women want that, or maybe they think it's fine. It's harmless to look at these images online or these videos that they're watching, when really you don't know. Right. Is that person being raped? Is that person having that done to them against their will? And then which then leads to purchasing a person's body for sex. And if we can stop that demand for sex, then you're going to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. And so it is something that people have to hear again and again, to just get that in their heads and to change the way the culture looks at just sex in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was getting at with listening to people in other podcasts sort of talk about the situation. There's a lack of awareness. Mm-hmm. There really is.
I'm looking forward. I just saw today that Rebecca Bender, which is a survivor of, she's like a survivor leader of being trafficked. And she is.
What is a survivor leader?
So it's somebody who has been sexually trafficked. I don't know how you want to say it.
Sure.
And
the easiest way. That's what I
yes,
want.
Yes.
Because I know what you mean.
Right.
Somebody listening is like,
right. Who has been trafficked and is now like a leader, like is now out of it and leading others.
Yeah.
To teach them about what human trafficking is, and
which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's such an incredible thing, because like if I got out of human I would never want to talk, think, do anything related to what I had just been
you
through.
Just pretend like it never happened or something.
On.
Yes.
Moving on, man. I got out. You're luckier like than so many.
Yes.
So many people. Like I was listening, and I don't mean to derail you. We'll come back to this, but I was listening to this one book by Tim Kennedy, and he worked with a lot of organizations that rescue women. From sex trafficking and human trafficking. Rescues a lot of kids and stuff. Which is just horrible. It was the one number that really stuck out to me was that women that are in these sort of hostels that are being exploited night after night have something along the lines of an 8-month survival time.
I can believe that. That's
just
awful.
Sick.
That's sick.
Sick.
Yeah.
And it should make people sick. I mean,
Yeah.
it made me sick when I heard that.
Yeah.
Because you again.
Now is that's in other countries?
No, that's in this country.
Oh wow.
He works with a lot of he has worked. He's a special forces guy, so he's worked with a lot of organizations around the world.
Yeah.
Definitely. But there's a lot of stuff happening, and this is the thing. People think like, strong borders aren't a good thing. And I understand the sentiment. You want to let whoever wants to come into the country for a better life in. I understand your sentiment, but what you don't understand is that it not only hurts our country to have open borders, because you're hurting a lot of minority groups that are here legally.
Yes.
But you're also really hurting the people that have to go through these terrible situations of crossing the border.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that are being trafficked right now along our border.
Yeah.
And a lot of these prostitution rings that are happening in America are happening on our southern border right now.
Because you're very vulnerable. Guy was
talking about.
You're very
He's
vulnerable
done a lot
there.
of work on the border, and there is so many women that are getting snatched up and just boom, you're
sad.
right into slavery.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I was saying about Rebecca Bender, and it kind of actually ties in with that, is because human trafficking can look so different.
Yeah.
It can look so different in just, that's all there is to say. Because what she was saying is so many times in this country, we do have that in mind when we think of human trafficking. We think of somebody maybe tied to a bed or somebody drugged out, which does happen, especially being drugged out. But that's not always the case. And so she's going to be having a TED Talk. I think it's not released yet, or I don't even know if she did it yet, but I signed up on the list to get when it's released. But she's going to talk about how human trafficking can be easily missed if that's what we're looking for. If you're looking for the woman who's stuck in the house, that might be happening, but that might not be everybody. Right. And she talked about the Jeffrey Epstein, the women that he would traffic. Oof. They were going to school every day.
Yeah. I mean,
they would come home.
Paid for, I think the one girl, he paid for her college education, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. But people were continuing with their lives like nothing's wrong when they're being trafficked. Oof. Whenever it is that they're with that person.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's I feel like that's the new thing that our nonprofits that work in this field need to really communicate, is saying, hey, it doesn't look like a movie Taken. Right. It doesn't always look like that. I know in other countries it probably does look a little bit more extreme, it's more evident maybe. Right. But in this country it can be very, very hidden. So yeah, there's different signs to look out for. Is someone becoming more withdrawal? Is their personality totally different now and you're not sure why? Are they secretive about certain things? You see them every day at school, but they're secretive about certain things, or they have a boyfriend now that you don't know much about, but he gives her really good things and she's infatuated with him, and but she's being cut off by her friends now, because they want to separate you from all your contacts so that the pimp is the only person that you love, trust, and provides for
maybe
you, protects you. Yeah, you think you love them, but yeah. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say about that, and but yeah, it's worth saying, because it is so easy to kind of visualize human trafficking and almost like, okay, the person was kidnapped and now they're.
We have to find balance because there's so many TED Talks on sex and sort of the liberation of sex. Okay. I'm fine with that conversation happening, but there needs to be a counter conversation so we can have balance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with people becoming more free in every facet of their lives. But you should know the dangers of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the thing that is missing in our politics. And we're not going to get into politics. But
that's good.
You know, the thing that's missing there is it was set up with conservative and liberal, or conservative and progressive, whatever.
Right.
Labels
Only
you wanna
two
put on it.
opinions. Yeah.
Well, it was set up in that way because there's a counterbalance there. There's a guy that's saying, I think we should move forward here. And the conservatives like, yeah, but not so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we really like the way we did it here. You know, and that creates this sort of push and pull that is able to move you forward in a way where you're actually able to take steps in a reasonable, thought through way.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you just go too fast on things, it sounds like a good idea, but you do not think about the repercussions of your actions. I mean, I've done that in my own life.
Yeah.
And you just don't think about it. That's the counterbalance that needs to happen on the sexual conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have any counterbalance to a lot of the sexual conversations happening in our country right now.
That's true.
There's only one narrative that's being pushed, and it's like, yeah, dude, but that's fine. But what about this?
Yeah.
Did you ever think about this? Don't think about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
you have to.
People are being hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to get into all those issues, but go through all of the different sexually related things in our country right now. There are things associated with all of them.
Yeah.
All of these liberated sexual acts and lifestyles that people should be made aware of so that they're safe.
Yeah.
Like, for crying out loud, it's not a right left argument. It's not a Christian atheist argument. It's not any of these things. It's a human argument.
Right.
Like, you're not even allowed to talk about like human needs or human safety.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is missing from the conversation, which I'm super excited that a real conversation is going to be presented to hopefully a huge, large, ever expanding audience.
Right.
Because there's so much on sex and sexual freedom, but there's so little on what that could bring.
Yeah.
And in many cases, it just brings opportunities for things like exploitation to creep in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Right.
And I wish, and that's totally a guy thing. And we've kind of been pushed out of a lot of, especially like the female led conversations on sex.
Yeah.
You know, because men shouldn't talk about
even though they're
women's bodies, and they shouldn't have any say in women's, sex and how they live their sexual lives and all of these types of things. But the problem is, you're not talking to us and having the conversation with us. And I'm not saying you, but women aren't having that conversation with men for the purpose of men understanding what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it all just comes down to the fact that we don't have the world doesn't have a basis for what is true. Yeah. So when you don't have a standing point on saying like, well, we know for sure this, when you don't have that, I mean, it's just craziness.
Yeah. Like
sex to the world there's no boundaries anymore. Yeah. So you're going to have chaos and hurt from that. So I mean, it really,
and I've said this a bunch of times on the podcast, and it's one of my favorite quotes from Jocko Willink: discipline equals freedom.
Yes.
Like there's not boundaries, walls, discipline, all of these things that seem the antithesis to freedom are what brings freedom.
Yes. Yes.
And once you understand that like scheduling your day,
yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Not even close. But once you understand that, I'm starting to understand that, like when I schedule certain parts of my day, or I'm like, at this time, I'm going to do this, even just something simple like that, it gets done.
And it feels good too.
It's amazing. Like once you say and put it out there and maybe write it down, that's the best thing to do. It happens.
Yes.
Because disciplining yourself in your time allows you to get your work done.
Right.
And then bring you more freedom.
Yes. And then it's not like looming over you all the time.
Yeah.
Like you didn't do this or you have to get this done. You're like, okay, I'm going to get it done at this time. And then when it's that time, you're getting it done and then it's done. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. And setting boundaries on your sex life. I mean, it's helpful, man.
Well, yeah. I mean,
as much as people love to talk about, open relationships, or they like to talk about sleeping around and just the fun that's had with that. I'm sorry. And I'm biased for sure. But give it a year and then let's listen to their podcast talking about how their life has been.
Yeah.
Not saying that they didn't have fun, not saying that they now live with a lifetime of regret. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying it's chaos.
And it causes pain too.
It does. It causes a lot of pain because we think our actions have no repercussions.
Yeah.
Like with porn.
Yeah.
And women aren't good at communicating or not, maybe not even communicating. Maybe a lot of women just don't understand how bad porn is for men.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of men talking about it. Like there's plenty of scientists talking about the implications of porn.
It's scientifically like, take out all other moral factors. It's not good for you.
No, there's kids, teenagers that can't have intercourse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With a woman.
Right. Yeah, that's
because of their porn addictions.
That's happening to young men, grown men.
This is like worldwide.
Yeah, I
shouldn't say worldwide. Places that don't have porn are doing great.
Right.
They are reproducing like crazy.
That's true. That's true. Oh my goodness. I can't remember what the organization is called, but there's an organization, it's not Christian, but it was started by men who would look at porn and then they realized that they couldn't be intimate with the person they wanted to be intimate with. Yeah. So their girlfriend or whoever. And that was when they realized, wait, there's a problem here. Like, I don't like this. Like, I want to be able to be intimate with this person. And so then they created this to start like educating people. Yeah. So they actually I don't even know if they might not think it's bad to look at porn, but they are telling people like, it's not good for you. Like this could result.
No, I don't care what you think of it morally.
Right.
Do yourself a favor and be healthy.
Yeah.
Like that's literally all I'm talking about is just be healthy.
Yeah.
And it's not good for you.
It's not good for you. And then you go to talk like not even physically, but thinking like just relationally, like now that you look at that, like what is your thought process when like you look at your daughter or your granddaughter or you see people around you that like just how are you viewing them now? And then how are you able to be close to somebody in healthy ways with that addiction? I mean, I don't know. I would just think it would mess with your ability to relate with people.
I don't think it messes. I'm sure it affects it in some way. I don't know if it affects kind of just more regular familial relationships, but definitely intimate relationships.
Right.
It affects.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It could affect.
I
I'm
don't
sure-
know. It would be interesting to listen to what somebody who's honestly like had an addiction and then is working on getting out of it.
That aspect may affect all relationships. Because I think an addiction is you're never your full self.
Yeah.
When you have something that you're doing that's hidden.
Right.
And usually addictions, you're not flaunting those.
Right.
You're not just like, I'm addicted to porn.
Yeah.
I mean, some people maybe, but usually not. Usually not. And it's bad, man. I mean, I just watched a couple today break up on like a podcast, you know. Like it was, I guess, good and they're still friends and stuff like that, but there was no one on the podcast who was mature enough to like point out, like the guy was saying he was addicted to porn.
Yeah.
And he like completely like stopped being intimate with his girlfriend.
Wow.
You know, that he lived with for like 10 years or more.
Yeah.
And like no one on the podcast was like, dude,
that's a problem.
Porn's bad.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean, he's gonna.
You have this gorgeous person that's way out of your league.
Yeah.
And you completely stop being intimate with her?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I'm sure that hopefully he figured that out.
No, and he is. But what I'm saying is it's a problem. And it's something that a lot of men struggle with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so readily available too.
It's so readily available, and it's just, it seems good for you.
Yeah.
Just like sugar.
Right.
Sugar seems good for you because
Right.
like it's delicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it makes me feel good about myself.
Right.
When
Right.
I have it.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the same thing, same dopamine hit. So, but it's the crash, you know, it's the after effects of all of those things that it's difficult to think about. And I know when I've struggled with it, I didn't have anyone in my corner, you know, and that's a huge thing too. There's a lot of lonely men out there.
And there's, I wish that I remembered the name. Maybe I can like link it at the bottom of this podcast or something.
Yeah.
But there are groups out there, if someone is struggling, that will support you. Like if you feel alone in that and you are struggling, there's groups that will help you come out of that with other men that are trying to come out of it.
Are they like pretty
they meet
anonymous, like Alcoholics Anonymous like?
I would think so. I mean,
it's not something you really want to go into like a chat and just be like, I struggle with porn.
Right,
you know?
right. It's more like I think it's a group that they actually meet in person regularly.
Oh, that's cool.
So that it's like you have like tangible relationships and something you're actually going to be held accountable and to grow with other people who are not going to judge you because they're also on the way out. You know, they're trying to stop that habit. So I'll have to find what that group is called.
Yeah. Check the description.
Yes. I'll find it.
That's cool. So just to kind of recap where we were going with F.R.E.E. So started out as an advocacy group, started getting better educated yourselves, started and helped organize the Berks Coalition that involves a lot of law enforcement and the judiciary.
No, I'm not going to be able to think.
Judicial system. Darn my mouth. Yeah, you get all those elements involved and start having some real impact on that side of human trafficking. Next, though, when did you guys decide to open a home?
It felt like a long time, but I'm pretty sure it was in that same year in 2018, because that's when we had our first gala.
Okay. Wow. A lot happened in that first year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because when we first started meeting, like we really were making so many connections. Like we were just kind of educating, making connections, and praying. So yeah, it was kind of like a lot of things, happened in that year. It was like a accumulation of like everything. Yeah. And then we started, and something cool about raising money for anything is you get the message out there. So I felt like once we started raising money for the home, we started educating even more,
Right.
which is great because you're going around, you're telling people what you're doing and why, and in that process, you're educating them on human trafficking, and getting more people interested that want to learn, what are the signs and key indicators of human trafficking and what to do and how to get involved. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That it leads to that.
It is cool. It is cool. And now you guys are like right on the precipice of soon being able to open the home.
Right. Yeah.
Dealing with the city is difficult.
Yes. Lots of
Very
obstacles,
difficult.
but
I think that's any city.
yeah.
I think cities are just very bureaucratic and have a lot of hoops.
Right.
And a lot of boxes to check. But you'll get there.
We will.
You'll get there. You have the home.
We have the home.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You have the home.
And we're still
it's furnished.
Right.
You've brought people in, you've showed them so people know that you guys are legit.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not like, thanks for the money.
Yeah. Well, it's also cool for people to see, like, to actually kind of see, like, okay, this is where it's going to happen, you know, which is kind of cool. Especially if you, like you said, if you support financially, it's cool to kind of go into that building and be okay, this is what my money went towards.
There's so many organizations that I support that I've like never seen where those funds are going. Like I know the stories of what's happening, but to be able to see like the bed that like a survivor will sleep in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to see like where they're going to eat breakfast and like all of those different things are it's cool.
It's pretty cool.
I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited that it's in the city. I'm excited that F.R.E.E. has really tapped into the heart of where the problem is. You guys aren't going to the suburbs and are like, come to us.
Yes.
You're like, no, it's happening here.
Right.
It's happening in the suburbs too. Don't get me wrong. But where it's most prevalent, you guys are like, we're going to be there.
Yes.
And we're going to fight there. And we're going to heal there. And I love that. I love that. Yeah, because you have the Berks Coalition to fight. And then you have you guys to really bring restoration and healing to those women. So it's so cool. It's so cool. But
awesome.
Yeah. And one thing I did want to touch on, just because I'm very proud of you, is that in a few months you're going to be stepping in as the interim director for F.R.E.E.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing. The current director is still mentoring you and still kind of onboarding you for that position, but she's just feeling called away from that for now.
Yes, yes.
And we'll see what happens with that. But you stepped up and you kind of were like, I'll take the ring to I'll take the ring to Mordor.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool to see what the new phase is, because it is kind of like as she's stepping into a different role in F.R.E.E., we're gonna be like opening a home, and that's gonna be like a brand new thing. It's like gonna be a brand new phase, and so it's exciting. It's exciting.
It's so cool though, because, and I'm glad you helped me remember all the education that you got, like that whole mentoring program down in Maryland. Because like I totally forgot about that. You're geared up for this type of work though.
Yeah.
Like what that refuge home needs to be.
Yes.
You know the things that need to be in place before it's opened. You know what its purpose is. You know what your goals are. You know what type of, you're writing up lessons
Yes.
for the women to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so cool because it's just right up your alley.
Yeah.
And I think life and God and people around you have like sort of prepared you for that position.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited because it's just cool to see how God put restorative care on my heart, like before we even knew that we were gonna raise money for a home.
Yeah.
Like I just felt like this has to happen. Like we have to have a place to send these women. And at the time I had no idea how that would even be possible or what that would look like. And then we decided, we're going to do it. We're going to raise money for this home. So that was cool. And then to have like that mentorship relationship now, but also to be trained then, is just really cool. And then to get to this point, to see it actually like about to happen is so cool. My heart is there in that home.
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing is going to see like what God does in these women's lives, because I truly believe that they are image bearers of God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be so cool to see how they shine when they come out.
Yeah.
I think that's what
that's one thing that's like, what's the woman's name that's going to be doing the TED Talk?
Rebecca Bender.
Like people like that, people like the I'm so bad with names, but the one person that is involved with F.R.E.E. right now.
Mandy. Mm-hmm.
Like, and she's a survivor. There's something about those women.
They're like a torch. They're on fire.
What? No, but you know what? No, they're gold.
Yes.
They went through the fire.
Yes.
They're refined and they're beautiful.
Yes.
Like, they're so like, I don't know. Like, they come into a room and the room changes.
Yeah.
With their presence. In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just gets dark.
In a good way.
No, it changes for the better. It changes because I think it takes things like that for you to really tap into like real joy.
Yes.
I think because they felt real sadness. They felt real heartache and depression and everything. I don't even know.
Yeah, we have nothing to compare to. Yeah.
No, I have nothing. But yeah, I think it's cool too because, I mean, restoration is in F.R.E.E.'s name.
Yes.
And finally, you guys are sort of coming into your own.
Yeah.
And you're like, now we're going to restore. We want to bring freedom.
Right.
And you did that with the Berks Coalition. They're going to start bringing freedom to women.
Yes.
And then that coalition is going to have a place to send these women to.
Right.
And be like, okay, now restore them.
Yes.
And
yeah, another cool thing to just like share is when we started raising money for Refuge Home, we kind of, I think Andrea found like the old mission statement or whatever that I think the founder had created. I'm pretty sure that was how it happened, but it was the first part of our mission statement was about restorative care. Like, our main purpose is to provide restorative care to women who have been sexually exploited. And so that was just kind of cool to see, because we had been educating, but then to kind of see like, okay, this is the direction we feel we need to go in. And then seeing that, like, yes, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so that was just cool to me, how that all matched up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's awesome. It is cool. Very cool.
How about you though? You're looking to maybe do something different.
I don't even want to get into that. Let's end the podcast. We've been going for a little while. We can wrap it up here. Talk about me another time. Thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Just Breathing Home Edition. If you like what you heard, hit the like button. Subscribe to this if you're on YouTube. Subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Follow if you're on Spotify. Do all the things. And And we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Love you all. Bye.